Halo Infinite is in a very crazy place that I don't think any game has ever existed in before. People completely hate Halo Infinite. There are people who are actually making threats, crazy posts. They've had to completely lock down the Reddit. Like, people are in full-blown damage control mode to try and isolate the problems of Halo Infinite, which is insane because Halo itself is very fun to play. The guns are tight, the action is cool, the explosions are fantastic. The game itself is very, very, very well tailored. The problem is the monetization. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and real quickly before we actually dig into all the drama, I do want to quickly thank people for subscribing and sharing and liking videos. We got like 1,000 subscribers just yesterday. I'm not sure why the channel is exploding so much, but I seriously have to do a gigantic thank you to you guys. I am a bit stunned. But let's talk about this. So this morning, I'm actually filming this video at like 6 a.m. And when I woke up, I like to do my daily quests in Halo as soon as I get up. There's been a bunch of problems inside the game, but the biggest issue resides around the fact that leveling up your battle pass is a very slow and arduous task. If you actually want to unlock the cosmetics, the natural, in-game way, you have to play a lot of hours of Halo Infinite every single week. Now, part of the thing they've decided to do is these daily quests that make it where by defeating enemies with a particular weapon or defeating a certain game mode, it makes it where you actually get boosts of experience points, level up, and get the cosmetics. But the other path is, of course, the Storefront, which has led to the tons of anger we're going to be digging into today. Now, this is actually the Storefront from 6 a.m. And while I was on it, I'll be honest, I never realized how much is for sale inside of Halo Infinite. The Storefront is probably the most polished part of this experience. It's quite actually full of all sorts of different skins, special armors. Like, this is a really good looking set of gear that costs like $12. Now, this very polished Storefront is something that definitely has not gone unnoticed by the community itself. In fact, if you look at stuff like, look, here's one of the top posts in the Halo subreddit, and it's got some strong language. And I don't mean curse words. I mean, this is a person who's very clearly typing angry, and I think it is a justified anger. I'm willing to forgive the lack of playlists. I'm willing to forgive the lack of staple game modes. I'm willing to forgive the terrible netcode. I'm even willing to forgive the lack of anti-cheat, because yes, there are still tons and tons of hackers in Halo Infinite. However, I can't forgive that setting up the shock took priority over everything. It baffles me that the monetization is the only feature that seems actually finished. It just shows that monetization took priority over everything else, that 343 and Microsoft want the monetization more importantly than anything else, including the game's stability and the community. Now, the game's community is the whole point of this video itself, but this is the motivator to it, which is the fact that, as I record this, the Halo subreddit, which is the official nexus of the entire conversation around Halo on the internet, is now on lockdown. They've decided that the conversations around this game have become way too heated. Now, I want to just look at this opening paragraph here because I feel like it really kind of sums up the anger and what the problem with Halo Infinite boils down to. On all sides, this problem has gone on long enough and spiraled out of control. The amount of toxicity on the sub from both sides has made it impossible for people to have civil discussions, which is what the mod team strives for regardless of opinion. We're temporarily putting the sub on lockdown so people can hopefully settle a bit and we can hit the reset button before launch. At the end of the day, this is a video game and this level of vitriol is unwarranted. Now, the key word here that's actually the motivation for this video is this term, both sides. You see they keep saying it again and again here, toxicity from both sides. What is he talking about? We're in this weird spot now where there are people who are trying so hard to tear Halo down, and there's people that are obsessively defending it. In fact, I've had people coming at me a bit, not a ton, but I've been having a lot of fun with Halo. I've been very clear about the fact that I've been playing a lot of hours of it pretty much every single night with my bros. I've had people who are upset that I'm not more upset. I can objectively report on the story, talk about the drama, look at the freaking scam skins they're selling and stuff, and just just talk about it. People think that if you do not hate this game, you're not properly interacting with it. And then the other side of the fence, there are these weird Microsoft defenders. There are people who have only owned an Xbox. This is like their first freaking experience ever with Halo, or sometimes just they grew up with Halo and it needs to be great. Those people are perhaps even crazier to me because they're some dudes who have straight up drunk the freaking crazy Kool-Aid when it comes to defending Halo Infinite. The game is flawed. I think we're allowed to say that. Like, this game has some serious deep-seated issues, to the point at which the developers themselves are having to do an official response as to the problems with it. Now, there's been two separate main statements by the Halo Infinite team, and both of them seem to have made people very, very mad. The first one was a developer basically saying, yes, we understand that the game is painful to play. Now, this word painful seemed to cause more bad than good. It seems like people got incredibly angry about this specific wording because when you think about it, it's like, brother, this is your game. You've been developing this for perhaps years and years and years. If you think the game is painful to do unlocks, then why didn't you improve it? At what point during development did you not take that very necessary step back, look at your own art, and say, this isn't good enough? If anything, this created a whole new spiral of freaking hate about the game because people realize that there are very likely Halo Infinite developers who don't like Halo Infinite, which is understandably insane to think about. Now, the final thing I wanted to take a look at here is, I mean, it's the final statement that was done by one of the 343 employees, and I feel like it really sums up some of the problems happening with the game right now. So this guy is called Sketch. Sketch is actually one of the main people sort of working on the game. He is a 343 industry person, but he's also it seems like he's a community manager. His job is to read through forum posts, to dig through the subreddit, and take that information back to the developers. Like, he is supposed to be a two-way mouthpiece. He's the way for us to talk to them, and he's basically told the players to shut up and to chill out. So this post we're looking at here has actually been deleted, or at least I couldn't find it, but essentially somebody managed to screenshot it, and essentially he's just, I feel like he's, I don't want to use the word offended, but it does feel like he's a bit offended. I can't reply to every person yelling at me or 343 Industries, but I just want to share a few final things to take or leave as you see fit. Then, when we have some updates, I'll be back. First, I'm going to stress again that I 100% understand and generally agree with the frustrations most are experiencing, even if I don't agree with the attacks. Call me a shill, a liar, a corpro speak, as you want, but I've never lied to this community, and I never will. I'm not saving myself or 343. I'm not saying myself or 343 Industries are victims in any way. That's yet another narrative some folks are having to apply. It's my job to come in here, listen, frankly take it on the chin, and despite personally being very put off by the way in which people are expressing themselves, still ensure that we're advocating for the players internally. Now, this is still one of the statements that I feel like I just keep seeing employees say this again and again, and it's the most baffling statement. I agree and understand with the frustrations. Like, you guys are working on the game. Like, am I missing a step? Did I feel like I just am still in dreamland? You are working on the game. If the game has problems so deep-seated that the employees can see them, like, what are you doing? Like, how is it that everybody from the inside and from the outside can see the fact that the battle pass is broken, that experience points are not valid enough, the fact that skins are supposed to be free, but some of them still cost money? Like, how can we all agree that this is messed up, and yet even then you're still like, well, guys, sorry, there's nothing we can do. You're working on the game. Sorry, let me keep going here. As for Slayer itself, we're still having discussions about feasibility. Yes, this is absolutely a hot topic and something the team is aware of. We would love to have more modes and experiences. Okay, so that's all the screenshot. But this goes on to basically say the fact that the game modes are baked into the code. So the fact that you want to try and do big team battle with your friends or try and do specifically just Slayer matches, it sounds like the game itself is currently not built to do specific game types. How? Like, I'm sorry I keep just pressing the same freaking button again and again. We keep circling back to the same point, but you guys made the game. Like, it's not like somebody took the video game, made 80% and handed it off to you, is it? Like, I feel like a big part of the community's anger that I definitely sympathize with is the fact that 343's answers are ridiculously dumb. Like, the things they're saying to the community, the things they're trying to just use as excuses or deflections or as shields, they don't even make sense. Make the game. Make the game or explain why these features are missing. Just saying it's impossible or we understand your frustration, that's just not enough. This is ridiculous. I just wanted to talk about it. The fact that the freaking lockdown has now begun, the fact that they've decided to completely put a lock and key on the subreddit, I feel like that is a gigantic sign that things need to improve because they're definitely falling apart. What do you think, though? Have you had a chance to play a bunch of Halo Infinite? Are you understanding of the complaints, or does this seem like a bunch of dramatic nonsense? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a gigantic thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. By the way, I am going to be working on a big review very soon for Halo Infinite's single-player campaign because co-op doesn't exist. But I'm going to be reviewing the Halo Infinite story this week. Be ready. It's going to be lit. Do kids say lit anymore? I don't know. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.